are educating our clients, and we see massive levels of knowledge already in the clients, but it is important not to do everything, but focus on creating a commercial value around this. Unless you create commercial value, everybody has ideas, nothing gets done.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Pleasure for Gaurav and myself to host this. We're unusually doing it from different continents. So Gaurav is zooming in from a hotel room. Can I say, Gaurav, where you are?
You can reveal my location. You can dox me, brother.
The last time we were talking, Gaurav was in San Francisco. Now you took his turn, right?
Yeah, Gaurav is in Muscat, Oman.
Yes.
And I'm in San Francisco. And where are you?
Well, I'm in good old Abu Dhabi, my friend.
Welcome from Abu Dhabi, the king of payments and soon the metaverse from Abu Dhabi. I love the old polo, Magnati polo shirt. When are Gaurav and I going to get one of those?
Come on.
As soon as you join Magnati.
Ah.
Oh. He's luring us in, Ronit. He's luring us in. He's tempting us.
It's an irresistible offer. What do you think?
I got a bit of the color going already, so I'm halfway there maybe.
Now, Gaurav, you're anyway part of it, man. You know, by hook or by crook, as they say.
Salud.
So we're going to be spending the next 25, 30 minutes talking about the metaverse and what Magnati are doing in the metaverse. Ramana, for people who don't know what Magnati does, can you give them a very high-level view on what is Magnati and your market position in the payments and e-commerce space?
Sure, absolutely. So Magnati was created in April 2021 when we carved out the payments business of First Abu Dhabi Bank, the largest bank in the Middle East and Africa, into an independent company. And then what we did is we bought in a strategic partner in Brookfield, then who now owns 60% of the company. So in summary, there are different players, payment players. Everyone claims to be a payments player. Everyone is a payments player, but they take different positions. There are some who call themselves processors, and there are some who call themselves the value-added side of it, because processing is a commoditized, anybody can do it. There is no differentiation per se. It's all about, what we used to call the old back-end operations. So what we as Magnati do is we call ourselves the App Store of payments. So we have what we call payment as a platform, and we offer 4 business lines: the acquiring business or the merchant acquiring business. We are customized and proprietary providers of so far disclosed Abu Dhabi government payments. We are customized providers of Ajman government payments and Ras Al Khaimah government payments. And please bear a few more days, we will announce many more coming in. So we provide and build ecosystems. So we have a very strong government solution business. We have merchant acquiring business. We are also the largest prepaid, both physical and virtual card providers in the country. And we work with many payroll providers as well as new generation wallets and providing them the virtual card. So that's a third line of business. Fourth line of business is where we do processing for the third-party wallets and banks and digital banks and new generation banks, in terms of how we seamlessly provide these APIs for them to connect and don't need to go through a 2-year project for execution. Instead, a single API connectivity and start using our APIs to start issuing products. So in summary, those are our 4 business lines. But if you ask me for an elevator pitch, we are the App Store of payments. That's what Magnati does.
So the App Store of payments, I guess that's a nice reference to the mobile internet age we've lived in for the last 10 years, 15 years. We've been living in this 2D mobile internet age where we're living in the App Store or the Google Store or the Play Store. The next generation of the internet potentially is moving from mobile 2D to 3D and device agnostic. And that's sometimes called the metaverse. Ramana, what is the interest for yourself and for Magnati to explore the metaverse? Why should this, as you called it, leading payment company in the Middle East and Africa, why don't you just stick to payments? What's this metaverse thing about? Wasn't Tim Cook saying yesterday? I think Tim Cook was saying yesterday, this metaverse is just PR, BS.
Yeah, I mean, like one good part is, or one bad part is, Oxford Dictionary hasn't yet defined metaverse. So, maybe Ronit, that's the first thing we should do.
They should read my report, right?
They should. So let's.
I'm sending it now. I'm sending it now to Apple.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So the moment I say Oxford, things antennas just go up. So so let's go back to the story. Metaverse means many things to many people, right? I mean, from the time where people started selling monkeys and pictures of monkeys to where we are today, we have come a long way. But let's take a pause. And you asked a question, Ramana, what does it mean for you as a business, right? We are in a business where, how many of us remember that we used to do a cash experience. So when I'm paying, the experience of the customer was pay money, wait for the change. That's what we call the manual payments to digital payments. So we moved from manual to electronic, actually, not even digital, electronic payments, which means I used to put my Max Stripe card, but still somebody used to do the big machine, and then a slip comes out and they ask you for signature, and somebody was
zip
still
zap
verifying,
machines. Yeah.
but they still verified the signature, which means it's not digital, it's not manual, it's electronic. So they made a part of that electronic. That was an electronic experience. To be honest, when it was launched, people were like, wow, we don't need to carry cash. That's great. But we need to carry pen to sign. Then what happened? I mean, you won't believe that my experience is it still happens in the US. When I went to US, and my signature, to be honest, in my bank accounts doesn't match. Forget about the card, right? I mean, you sign something at the back of the card when you receive it. Yeah. And I wasn't allowed to buy my coffee because the signature didn't match. So
wow, you couldn't buy a coffee?
No, I couldn't. So that's the reality of it. I had to pay dollars anyway.
Wow.
So from manual to electronic to digital. Now we move to a digital where everything is tokenized. You put in your fingerprint, you put in your eye scan, and that experience has transformed. But in all these stages, it is all driven by experience, right? And our key word as part of, while we are payment providers, the whole App Store journey was built on what we call experience. Now, what happened was when we moved from manual to digital, it all became manual commerce to electronic commerce, which we call e-commerce today, right? That is 2.0. Now we moved from 1.0 manual to 2.0. What is 3.0? And that is where we are focused. That's what Metaverse means for Magnati, is what we define as experiential commerce. And one technology that is going to transform the experience is Metaverse, is the so-called the 3D and the social network of 3D is going to transform this experience. And we are not at this stage talking about NFTs. We are not at this stage talking about cryptos. We are at this stage talking about moving away from electronic commerce to experiential commerce. And we are drawing a line, what we call between a 2.0 to 3.0, there is 2.5. And that's what we are creating. And that 2.5 is existing rails, existing payment model, but 3D experience. That's why it is all about experiential commerce.
And that's a really good point when you talk about experience, because sometimes people think of the metaverse as this hyper digital realm. But actually, for me, what's so powerful about the metaverse is that it makes the digital more human, because 3D is, for millennia, for thousands of years, we've evolved living in this physical 3D world, and actually recreating that digitally creates more, maybe deeper interaction that we can do in these 2D Zoom calls. And I think that's a really important point. I've got loads of more questions I want to ask you, but I want to bring Gaurav into the conversation because otherwise I'll spend the next half an hour talking and
I'll spend the half an hour responding. So
and then that poor guy will be sitting in Oman going, "Oh man, what am I doing?"
I'll be listening to a great conversation, guys. What are you talking about? Where you guys don't do that. You guys, yeah.
Do you have Gaurav? Do you have GD embossed on your polo like Ramana has RK?
No, it's only on my work shirts, just in case I get lost in all the work I do. So they need to remind me of who I am.
You know, when they bring it back from the dry cleaner or the Toby, yeah? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but thanks, Ronit and Ramana. It's always great to have you here. You know, from the first time we had a conversation with you to where we are now, this is super exciting. And you know, I want to break up the conversation a bit further down into a couple of things about products, roadmap, a couple of things which you've tried out, just so that people can understand. You're not just talking about something; you're doing something, right? This is very important. And what we want to do is, I want to break down a bit of an understanding from you on the B2C side of where you're looking to engage. What is Magnati's customers reach? Because you're not directly working with B2C, you're creating an experience for B2C. So what are you doing there? And then you do work with B2B in your experience. And what are you going to take care of in that element? So if you can give us a bit of insight on whichever one you want to start with first, let's go down those roads and see what you've done so far.
Absolutely.
It'd be great to understand.
So let's get back to, you know, what are the cases we are solving, right? And there are 2-3 industries who we think are going to be the first movers. Now, and this is an example I keep giving, and because this is so close to our heart. So let's go to this example. Our clients are hotels. So today we serve a lot of hotels, right? Now, hotel industry, to be honest, hasn't really evolved in generations. Because if you go to the large hotel groups, and when you talk to them, the model how they work is efficiency of all the rooms looking similar, the same cots, the same beds, that's all operational efficiency. And they thrive on that. But that's exactly how taxis used to be till Uber came in. So I am sure somebody somewhere down the line in the world is working on a fun hotel concept where they are working on a concept where you design your hotel room, right? Now, let me go and talk about a bit more on what we do as part of Metaverse for hotels. When you go to hotel booking, you either go to the aggregators like booking.com, hotels.com, and so on, or you go directly to brands.com. Let's say Jumeirah.com, Marriott.com, EmiratesPalace.com.
Gotcha.
But the B2B side of the story is the percentage of sales coming from brands.com is very low because today aggregators take up a majority of this e-commerce transactions. Now, what does it mean for a hotel? What it means is hotels are missing all the leads and the information and the dropout, and they're not sure why customers are not picking them.
Right. It's like Google search, right? Point of origin for discovery is not them. It's not the search engine.
Right? Yeah. Now keep that aside on the right side of your brain. That is B2B. Now let's get to the left side. On the left side, I am a customer. I logged into this aggregator websites and I clicked on XYZ hotel in Dubai. They showed me standard room, deluxe room, twin room, mini room, 3D, that room, this room, and I booked the room. And there are studies that show the moment I tap and enter my room, I have what the heck moment, right? Because as a customer, I have paid so much money for this hotel room. And the moment I walk into the room and I go, what? This is not what I paid for. Yeah. So traditionally, the experience, I mean, going back to Uber and taxi, my experience is I'm waiting for this taxi to come in forever. It never stops. It never comes. And I have to go to a taxi stand or I have to go to a point to board. And nobody understood that it is a burning issue or an experience issue for a customer. Now, I am having huge experience issue because my hotel room is not known before I booked the ticket, right? Now, what are we working with the hotels is the concept of before you book the room, you view the room, you visualize the room, you experience the room. And based on that experience, you conduct the commerce, which means you book a transaction. Now, we
have you
haven't
built
stopped
that?
there. Sorry, we haven't stopped there. So that's where we started. Then we started talking to hotels in the market. And now you won't believe where we evolved into. We are now at a point where we literally are now, you go and experience the room, and that's one part of the story. Now, how can we monetize that? Now we are creating menu in the room where, have you ever asked, Gaurav, you are in that room, you are in a hotel room. Have you ever asked, what is that office table doing in that room with that 1960s lamp on the bulb? Have you ever asked that question? How many times have you used it? Now imagine I click the menu, I replace it with a foosball table, or I replace it with a piano, or I replace it with anything, or a chess board, or a carom board, or even kids playing tool. Guess what? This is the Uber of the hotel industry. Now we have created a menu where people experience this and can also not only select what they want, but and visualize in that room how it fits. And what's in it for hotels? You're now getting additional revenue because they're paying rent for a piano. They're paying rent for advanced booking of room number 507 and not getting whatever they want. And on top of it, if you are, for example, you have an evening dinner, and this was experience I had when I was in hotel in one of the cities where I took the lift and I had to walk 40 steps or 50 steps to get to my room. I would rather want the room next to the lift, right? So these sort of nuances, you start charging the customers because people are ready to pay for experience. And that's how you convert.
Or pay less if they want to be, if they don't, or pay less if they want to be, if they're okay to be 50 steps away and it saves them $50, why not?
Or pay less. Now, you still have the right side of the brain talking about how does it benefit me as a hotel as well, now that you created new revenue opportunities. At the same time, you are now driving these footfalls into brands.com because your metaverse is placed on web app or 3D models of property owned by the hotels, which means either a website or an app or even aggregator hotels, but you get the data. So you're addressing both the data part and the leads part, and you're addressing the customer and the consumer part of benefits for the consumer and how hotels make more money. Now, hotel industry is one industry that will quickly adopt this because remember, in Metaverse, the biggest challenge is creating these assets, the virtual assets. If you are, for example, Emirates Palace, you create it once and that's it. If you are Burj Al Arab, you create it once. If you are, Burj Khalifa, you create it once. So the return on creation of these assets is much higher. Now, that is just the start. Tomorrow, when these hotels want to sell the digital asset, they now can split it into NFTs and do that because it's already built, it's already there, and you can sell room number 908, you can sell room number 1111, whichever room, famous number Ronit wants to pay money for, right? So that's
no
just
money.
the whole
Gaurav, you're thinking of.
No, it's Ramana who is doing that. We're all going to pass the buck here.
Exactly.
But jokes aside for a second, this is very interesting. And from a concept point of view, that's very well explained. So thanks for taking us through that journey. I want to talk about the actual build experience now. Is this live? Can I experience this? Can I go somewhere and do it? Tell me about that. Yeah, so if it's live, sorry, Ramana, let me, just one sec. Sorry, if it's live, just tell me, that's amazing. How long did it take for you to get from deliberating on this concept, thinking the way that you did to approach it? How long did it take to execute on it? And did you face any challenges or was it easy as pie? Tell us about that journey now.
Absolutely. So it is live as a, what I call as an asset within our books. Now we are talking to hotels to create it. Some of them are in proof of concept. As soon as we create the hotel, that becomes their asset, right? So there are three things I want to explain as part of this. Remember, we talked about app store and platform. So I'll go into a bit of tech now. This is built on Magnati blockchain. And in the blockchain, we have about 20,000 nodes and multiple subnodes. Each node represents a merchant in our language. So we can give a node to Marshall, and Marshall may have 10 different companies, they become subnodes, right? Let's say we create a hotel for XYZ group. XYZ group becomes a node, but they all sit on what we call the Magnati MetaV platform. Okay, so these are all nodes of the platform. There are two ways you can create, and many of the clients we spoke to, they all said, but why should we create on your platform? Why can't we create our own? So we said, listen, we are a platform. We already have 35,000 merchants in the country. We are a platform, and when more we are creating, you can spend all the money and create your own metaverse, but you will struggle to get the footfalls. This is like, the question when people, the brick and mortar people ask, but Amazon can never take our market share. And Amazon, and when Amazon was launched, people said, no, but I can sell it online. Why should I need an Amazon? But there is a reason why people believe in platforms and app stores, because they come one place and they get everything. That is the whole idea of Magnati Metaverse. We rent these nodes in a crude language, where people can build at a much lesser cost, build their metaverse. And when somebody walks into Magnati MetaV, by default, they see all these merchants in the platform. So we drive the footfalls as well, right?
So, yeah. So, Ramana, I just think we're going to have to ask you one more question, because the problem with this is we've got 30 minutes, and I think we could talk about this for 2 hours. So, Ronit, what I want to do is I think we're going to have to keep catching Ramana every 3 months to benchmark his progress. It'll be a good test for him as well, and all our viewers, like to see where he's going and what he's done and what we can tinker with as well.
I love it.
I think that'd be a lot of fun. Ramana, are you up for the challenge?
Absolutely, man. Why 3 months? Let's do every month.
Whoa.
Because I have
take it easy, Ramana. Okay, I mean, every month. I mean,
I have a huge monetization.
It's a weekly show. We can't have you on every 4 weeks. I mean, we love you, but
we're gonna have to every quarter. But
I have a huge monetization target. So let's look at it in terms, because for me, I think this is common sense. This is a business
can you put the targets on the screen? Should we do a screen share? And
yeah, I think we should. We should do this.
We should right?
Say, 3 months from now, boom, boom, boom. Let's see where Ramana is. But coming back to
adoption again, this is like, Facebook.
I want to see the GMV on the screen, the gross metaverse value.
I can't do that. Private. But
yeah. So
we've got
back to the point. Sorry.
Back to the point.
Yeah.
So
back to the point in terms of live. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Back to the point in terms of live. I'll just spend 1 minute.
Please.
The adoption is what you don't control, but you have to be patient as well. It is very important. People have to understand the value. It took years and years before internet scaled. Years, right? This may not take years, but it will take year or months, many months, because people are already at a stage of advanced internet. But it still needs to be addressed, where people saying, why should I virtually buy? People still have this human, emotional interfaces, but what they also see is their kids only interacting with their friends on Fortnite, Minecraft, or Roblox of the world. So they have no other option, but this is going to happen. This is part of our lives. This will be part of our lives. So we are ready. We are educating our clients, and we see massive levels of knowledge already in the clients, but it is important not to do everything, but focus on creating a commercial value around this. Unless you create commercial value, everybody has ideas, nothing gets done.
Right? Yep. As we say here on this show, and as I like to adopt as a phrase, is technology for the sake of the technology does nothing for nobody. But moving on from there, we've got a very hard stop with Ronit and myself. So the last question I want to ask before I hand back to Ronit is, the UAE, seemingly the lead in this space, as Ronit and I have been talking about and conjuring up and having many people on our show talking about this. What's your take on this? Why?
Absolutely.
Why is it the lead, or what's your thought process?
So lucky. We are so lucky. I mean, I can't believe, there are people, I was in London last week, and I get calls from my friends in US, and they say, man, what you guys are doing, we can't even conceptualize, we can't even think. You guys are at next level. So I know we are so fortunate that we are living in a country where there is so much opportunity for these ideas. When we launched Magnati MetaV, the first 4 calls we got were from ministries. Can you believe?
Oh, wow.
Were from ministries, and the ministries wanted to be the first mover in this space.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
And the level of knowledge from the ministries is exceptional. And please come to GITEX. You will see some of the things we talk about, right? We are working.
We'll all be in GITEX.
All right, all the listeners, you've been invited to stands. Please,
Please come to the government side of the stands.
passes.
Yeah, government side of the stands, and you would love it. You would love what we have done for some of the governments, right? And it's exceptional. So the way government departments picked up is mind blowing. And the private sector, they all want to be part of the journey because they believe that this is the future. This is how it's going to be. But they all believe that Dubai and UAE, I'm talking about UAE in totality, is a hub for nurturing innovation and a hub for building these assets or innovative assets, driven right from His Highness Sheikh Hamdan to everyone who are pretty senior and the people who drive the vision of this country. It's a mind-blowing experience, right? And having said that, it is also very important that the onus is on all of us to drive that commercial value and prove again that the place we are living in is the place that would be the future of all the innovation and brainchild of this world.
Thanks a lot, Ramana. Ronit, back to you, brother.
So, Ramana, it's 2030. You, Gaurav, and I are there in the where is it? We're toasting your success in the Burj Khalifa or
in the Metaverse Burj Khalifa.
In the Metaverse.
On MetaV.
MetaV. So what does MetaV look like? What does payments, what does experiential commerce look like? Give us the 2030 vision.
Absolutely. I mean, in 2030,
this is the last question.
In 2030, Magnati MetaV would be the Middle East and Africa's platform, which would have hosted all the big brands on the Metaverse, where people would be doing transactions, not only transactions, people would be enjoying concerts, people would be watching football, people would be, building platforms. And not only that, hopefully we would have tokens and coins which would drive rewards and loyalty, and something which is, for example, a stable coin or a dirham link coin, all of that happening as we speak, and people virtually visiting Magnati MetaV to go through a government experience or getting a visa or viewing a Burj Khalifa or an Emirates Palace or anything else on the market. That's what I define 2030 to be.
Wow.
Awesome. And we look forward to the quarterly catch-ups.
Here we go. Game on.
You take care, guys.
It's a pleasure to have you on, Azama Ramana. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Ramana. Always a pleasure.
Thank you so much.